everybody knows that running from the cops is never a good idea. However, some celebrities have thought it was. Hi, I'm Stacey Taylor, and today I'm counting down the top 10 celebrities that ran from the law. At number 10 today, we have Chris Brown. In 2016, Chris Brown was arrested by the Los Angeles Police Department. The singer would be charged after an hour-long standoff with police outside his home. Officers responded to a call that was placed around 3 a.m. from a woman seeking help inside the residence. In the interview, TMZ would later confirm the identity of the woman as Bailey Curran. Bailey would tell officers that Chris Brown had demanded that she leave his home in a really inappropriate way. When the officers arrived at 10 a.m., Chris would tell them that when you get the warrant or whatever you need to do, you're going to walk right up in here and you're going to see nothing. During the standoff, Chris would then throw a duffel bag out the window that contained substances and equipment, which resulted in the star to be arrested. And on number 9 today, we have Katt Williams. Katt Williams was able to escape being arrested after leading police on a motorbike chase in California. The star would find himself in some pretty hot water after he decided it was a good idea to drive his 3-wheeled motorbike on a sidewalk, and this led police on a chase that was later called off to protect bystanders. When officers tried to stop Katt, he rode away and would then proceed to run several red lights while telling one officer that he wasn't going to stop. They had plans to present a felony arrest case to the district attorney's office for a possible prosecution case. However, nothing really came to light about the case as it was never filed. Katt's agent would then later come out to say that he wasn't aware of any of this incident and he declined to comment any further, which is a pretty smart move for an agent if you ask me. Are you guys enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8 today, we have Mel Gibson. Back in 2006, TMZ reported that Mel Gibson was arrested. According to the 4-page report, Mel became agitated after he was stopped on the Pacific Coast Highway and was told he was going to be detained for driving under the influence. The actor would then begin to swear uncontrollably as the two stood next to the hood of the patrol car. The deputy would then ask Mel to get inside his car. However, when the deputy opened the passenger door, Mel Gibson would say, "I'm not going to get into your car," and decided to bolt to his car. Now, Mel didn't get far before the deputy was able to catch him and then proceeded to cuff him and put him in the car. Mel would then later come out with an apology about his behavior and said he was taking the necessary steps to ensure he would return to his health correctly. At number 7 today, we have Jake Lloyd. Star Wars actor Jake Lloyd was arrested following a high-speed chase that resulted in the star losing control of his car back in 2015. A released video would later show that when police tried to pull over Jake in South Carolina, he would try to escape and would venture into Colleton County, where local police had to take over the chase from there. When deputies attempted to pull over the vehicle started to pass other cars on a double yellow line at an increased speed. Jake was driving in a reckless manner and his behavior endangered the safety of the motoring public. Jake would then run the vehicle right off the right-hand side and drove through a fence. The road then ended and he continued to drive down a wooded area where he eventually collided with several trees. Jake was then later arrested by authorities and was charged with reckless driving, failure to stop, and driving without a driver's license. At number 6 today, we have OLB. Wu-Tang Clan rapper OLB was arrested after having a standoff with police who stopped his truck. OLB had just left the recording studio before the altercation broke out. Cops would say that OLB was in a truck with his cousin Frederick, and they pulled over the vehicle around 8:15 p.m. in Crowns Heights by the street crime unit for driving with no headlights on. Something would then discharge and police and OLB would start a standoff. OLB would then blame his cousin for the incident. However, no one could figure out the exact culprit at the time, so OLB was arrested. However, during this time, OLB's cousin would run from the van into a building. However, he would later be caught that night. Since OLB did decide to give up his cousin, he would later be released and would be treated as a witness for the crime. At number 5 today, we have James Brown. James Brown was sentenced to 6 years in prison after the star was caught with illegal equipment while trying to flee from police in a vehicle under the influence. The incident would start after James stormed into an insurance company building and waved the piece of equipment in the air while he complained that strangers were using his washroom. When police would finally arrive at the scene, James would then take them on a high-speed chase through Georgia and South Carolina. The star during the case would even proceed to ram police cars with his pickup truck. When police were finally able to blow out 2 of James's tires, he drove 6 miles on the rims before police were finally able to stop the vehicle and arrest the star. And at number 4 today, we have Randy Quaid. after Randy Quaid once tried to cross the border to escape law enforcement. Randy and his wife were wanted in Santa Barbara for failing to show up for a court hearing in 2010 for a burglary case. Initially, the two were found living in a home that wasn't theirs. In order to escape law enforcement, the two would then head to Canada in the hopes that they would cross the borders and escape the charges. However, Canada didn't want them, and in 2015, they would be arrested at the Vermont border while trying to sneak back into the United States. California then tried to extradite the couple back to the state. However, Vermont denied the process. And today, the warrants are still active for their arrest. And at number 3, we have Ezra Miller. Flash actor Ezra Miller has been making some pretty bizarre behavior over the last few years after committing a series of different crimes around the world. At the start of the summer, Ezra would be accused of trying to hide from law enforcement after they tried to serve Ezra a protective order from the parents of an 18-year-old activist. Another order would then be served, and Miller would then be arrested and accused of stealing 7 bottles from a Vermont home. Since Ezra has chosen to get the help to save his career and to help him get the help he needs to put an end to his bizarre behavior. And number 2, we have O.J. Simpson. The O.J. Simpson trial was a verdict that stunned the nation after O.J. Simpson was found not guilty for the reasons surrounding the passing of his wife and her friend. In 1994, 5 days after the crime was found, an arrest warrant would be issued to O.J. Simpson. However, before they would find O.J., his lawyer Robert Kardashian would read a troubling note. Just over an hour later, the police were finally able to track down O.J. in the interstate while he was traveling in the back of his friend's white Ford Bronco. O.J. would be captured on video for the whole world to watch as he tried to escape from police for 45 minutes. O.J. would then later drive home and would be taken into custody. And at number 1 today, we have Roman Polanski. For 31 years, Roman lived as the world's most celebrated fugitive. After admitting to having inappropriate relationships with a child, Roman would flee America. However, in 2009, past would finally catch up to Roman, and in 1977, Roman would plead guilty for the charges when he was released on bail, and the star would flee the US a year later and would live in exile, refusing to return to the US even when he won an Oscar back in 2002. However, when Roman did decide to travel to Switzerland to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award, police would arrest Roman and would begin the process to extradite him back to the United States. Well, that's it for this video, Peaches, and until next time, remember to stay juicy. Everybody knows that running from the cops is never a good idea. However, some celebrities have thought it was.